The winter wind howled through the crowded city streets, sending flurries of snow tumbling past busy pedestrians. Amid the noise of honking cars and hurried footsteps, a tiny figure stood nearly invisible, a young girl no older than 5, huddled beside a lamp-post on a bustling sidewalk. Her coat, several sizes too large, hung off her shoulders in tatters. The fabric barely shielded her from the biting cold. Her bare feet, pressed flat against the icy pavement, were red and raw. Yet she didn't cry. Her small hands clutched something tightly, a painting wrapped in old cloth. It was vibrant, incongruous with the gloom around her. Bright sunflowers bloomed across the canvas, as if defying the despair that surrounded their young guardian. Around her, the world moved indifferently. Businessmen in sleek suits passed her by, their eyes locked on their phones, their minds far from the sight of a child who had clearly been forgotten by the world. She watched them with a quiet hope, her lips trembling as she tried to summon the courage to speak. Then, her gaze landed on a man unlike the others. He was adjusting a cashmere scarf, his tailored coat glinting under the streetlights. His shoes, polished to perfection, clicked confidently against the pavement. Something about him made her heart race, not with fear, but with a distant glimmer of possibility. She stepped forward. Her voice, when it came, was as soft as falling snow. "Sir, would you like to buy this?" The man, Thomas Black, stopped in his tracks. At 35, he was a name that echoed through corporate boardrooms, a multimillionaire known for his ruthless ambition and cold efficiency. He had long trained himself to ignore the noise of the streets, to pass beggars and vendors without a second glance. But something in that fragile voice cut through the noise like a whisper in a storm. He turned and found himself staring into a pair of eyes that seemed far too knowing, too sorrowful for someone so young. He knelt, curiosity piqued, and heart inexplicably unsettled. "What are you selling?" he asked gently. The girl unwrapped the cloth with careful fingers and turned the painting toward him. Despite its modest canvas, the artwork was captivating. The brush strokes were alive with emotion, vivid yellows, deep greens, the kind of detail only someone painting from the heart could capture. "My mother painted it," she said quietly. "She was an artist." Thomas blinked, his breath catching in his throat. His eyes darted to the signature in the bottom corner of the canvas. Olivia Carter. His vision blurred. It couldn't be. Olivia, the woman he had once loved more than life itself. The woman he had left behind when opportunity knocked too loudly to ignore. He had told himself she'd be better off without him, that it was the right thing, that he had no room for love in his meticulously calculated life. But now he was staring at a ghost of his past in the form of a child with Olivia's eyes. "Your mother's name was Olivia?" he asked, though his heart already knew. The little girl nodded solemnly. "She died 2 months ago." Her words fell with the weight of finality, and they hit Thomas like a blow to the chest. In that instant, the world seemed to tilt. "Her name was Estella," she said, and though she was too young to understand the full gravity of the truth, Thomas felt it in every trembling breath she took. This was his daughter. The dark curls, the way she tilted her head when she spoke. It was Olivia all over again. And it had been 5 years since he had walked away. "I need to sell this to buy food," Estella said, her voice steady despite the hunger that lined her face. "Lily and Noah are hungry." "Lily and Noah?" Thomas echoed, his throat tight. "My little sister and brother. Lily is 4, Noah is 2. I take care of them." 5 years. The math added up far too well. He had missed it all. The births, the first steps, the lullabies Olivia must have sung alone. And now she was gone, leaving 3 small children to fend for themselves in a world that didn't care. "Can you show me where you live?" he asked, his voice unsteady. She nodded and led him through twisting alleys and across icy streets to a crumbling building that looked like it should have been condemned. The stairwell was dark, the walls stained with years of neglect. Up 3 floors, Estella unlocked a door with a string of keys tied together by yarn. Inside, the room was no bigger than a storage closet. A thin mattress sat on the floor, shared by 3 small bodies. A cardboard box doubled as a table. In the corner, a rusted heater clicked, but emitted no warmth. Lily lay curled around Noah, her tiny arms wrapped protectively around him as he whimpered in his sleep. Thomas stood frozen. This was how they'd lived. Cold, hungry, scared. And all the while, he'd been toasting champagne on rooftops and flying first class to investor summits. His soul ached with shame.
He didn't hesitate. He pulled out his wallet and handed Estella every dollar he had. Then he left, returning an hour later with bags full of groceries, blankets, and coats. The children's eyes lit up at the sight of food. Lily cried when she tasted warm soup, but Thomas knew this wasn't enough. These children didn't need handouts, they needed a home, a future. He knelt before Estella, his voice trembling but determined. "Pack your things. You're coming with me." His penthouse, once a monument to luxury and loneliness, was transformed. The cold white walls now bore pastel paintings and stick-figure drawings. Plush beds replaced sterile leather furniture. Toys spilled across the floor, and for the first time in years the space echoed with laughter. Thomas didn't just want to care for them, he wanted to be their father. But trouble stirred. Olivia's estranged sister Diana surfaced. She claimed custody of Lily and Noah, arguing blood ties and legal rights. Thomas fought back, armed with more than money. He had Olivia's diary, discovered in Estella's old backpack. "If anything happens to me," one entry read, "please keep them together. They belong with someone who will love them, not just own them." The trial was grueling. Lawyers slung accusations, the press turned it into a spectacle, but when the judge read the diary entry aloud, the courtroom fell silent. And then came the DNA test results. Estella was his biological daughter. The judge made her ruling. All 3 children would stay with Thomas. Diana, humbled and remorseful, broke down in tears. "I didn't know," she whispered. I thought I could do right by them." Thomas didn't shut her out. Instead, he opened the door to shared healing. Slowly, Diana became a part of their lives, picking up the children for playdates, reading bedtime stories, learning to love in a way she never had before. Lily learned how to braid her hair like Olivia once did, smiling proudly as she practiced on Estella. Noah took his first unsteady steps across the living room floor and into Thomas's arms, laughing as he shouted, "Papa!" And Estella? She painted, every day, with colors brighter than before. And when she smiled now, it was the kind of smile that made the world feel lighter. One night, Thomas stood by the window, watching the snow fall outside, the city twinkling below. Behind him, the room glowed warmly. The sunflower painting, restored, framed, and full of meaning, hung above the fireplace like a beacon of hope. He turned to look at his children, all asleep in their new beds, their chests rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. A family, finally whole.
He whispered into the silence, "Thank you, Olivia." And as the snow fell gently on the city, it seemed even the sunflowers in the painting leaned a little closer to the light, turning always toward love.